a listing and it said 1-bedroom apartment. Huh? Hello and welcome to my channel. It's yours truly, Shanealjasmine, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys how God spoke to me about moving to Texas, part 4. If you did not go see part 1, 2, and 3, pause this video, go check those out, and then come back. Before we jump into it, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and hit the bell button so that you're notified every time that I post. Now let's get into it. I hope you guys are watching these in order because I pick up exactly where I left off, okay? So God had planted in my spirit for me to do a fast. I've been feeling the urge to do a fast for a few weeks. One day I'm talking to ChatGPT because I've been talking to her like she's a friend, right? But obviously, like, you're not supposed to talk to her like she's God, you know what I'm saying? But she can be beneficial in certain areas. So one day I randomly asked her, what character in the Bible am I most like? So she said, I'm most like Esther with the passion and fire of David. I didn't know much about Esther at the time, so I was like, okay. So that led me to read the book of Esther, and I was like, I could see the resemblance. I could see it. I told you guys for a few weeks, God had my spirit that I needed to fast. So one day I'm on TikTok and I see a video of someone that basically it was pouring down raining and she went into her driveway and she just laid out on the ground. And she said that she just had finished an Esther fast and she asked God to allow it to rain. I'm like, you know, you got to pay attention because God will speak to you in a lot of different ways. You got to pay attention to the small details. So I was like, what is the Esther fast? So I did some research. Basically, it's a 3-day fast, no food, no water. Now, I did a fast, my very first fast back in January. I did no food, just water from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I was like, okay, like I think I can handle that, you know what I'm saying? Because I really felt disconnected in my spirit. Like, even though he spoke to me about fasting, I still just felt, it's hard to explain, but like all year, I felt like me and God was locked in. You feel me? But this particular time, I felt a disconnect. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I can do that. So I was very intentional, right? Mind you, I seen this video on like a Tuesday. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to fast this weekend. So 3 days, cool. Saturday, Sunday, I took off work Monday. Remember I told you guys my new room had 2 closets. Now, one of those closets was a walk-in closet. Because I had threw away majority of my stuff, all my stuff was able to fit into that one closet. So I took the other closet, which was smaller, obviously. I made that a prayer closet. If you guys didn't know, when you fast, whenever you get hungry, you are supposed to pray and read your word. Instead of you eating to feed your flesh, you are praying and reading your word to feed your spirit. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make that a prayer closet. I was very, very intentional. And then I did no social media. Anything that I consumed, listened to, watched, whatever, it had to have something to do with God. So when I was watching TV, I was watching The Chosen. I actually had just started watching The Chosen. If you don't know what The Chosen is, it's a series about Jesus, basically. Or I was watching sermons, preach words, stuff like that. Listening to only gospel music. Like, I was very intentional for 3 days. I'm not going to get into everything that transpired during this fast just because some things doesn't relate to this specific testimony, but let me tell you something. Chains were broken. Soul ties were broken. Like, this fast was what I needed for sure, okay? So I come out of this fast and I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling like I'm back on track. I'm in alignment with God. Like, it was well needed. It was well needed. So I got to a place where I learned what it was that God was trying to teach me in this season. I learned that I had to stop allowing other people's actions to get a reaction out of me. I never had to learn that before because I told y'all, if I didn't like something, I just removed myself. I was a runner, I guess you can say. If I didn't want to deal with something, if I didn't want to deal with a person anymore, I just blocked them. Never talk to him again. If I was in a space where I feel myself getting upset or whatever, I just removed myself. God had me in this house because it had to teach me that you have to work on how you respond to things. because you can't run away from every situation. Some things you have to endure, but I had to get to a place where I stopped allowing the situation to dictate how I responded. So once I learned this lesson, I was like, wow. So I remember this day, I go into the kitchen, mind you, they never kept that place clean, okay? But I go into the kitchen, there's dishes piled up. And I remember specifically, I did not get upset. I think I looked at it and I was like, nope, not my problem. And I just walked off in my room. When I came back out, maybe like an hour or two later to get some water, the sink was clear. I got it. Like, I had learned the lesson. I stopped responding to things that was out of my control. I stopped letting other people's actions get me out of character. I was at peace. I was on a cloud. Like, I'm telling you, this fast was exactly what I needed. I was so happy. Like, nothing in that house was getting me upset. Nothing. No one or nothing was getting me upset. I get to a point now where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get out of here. Like, I'm ready to get out of this house, because I realized that the spirit in the house was not aligning with my spirit. So I was just ready to go. I told you guys that security deposit was gone. I spent it. So I went on PassSplit and I was looking at different places. I'm like, maybe I could just transfer a room. But all the rooms that was up to my liking, the rooms looked smaller. So I was like, mind you, the room that I was currently in was pretty big. I had 2 closets. The room was huge. So I brought things to accommodate that space. So I was like, I don't want to go to a different room and then not have room for my stuff, because where am I going to put it? So I was like, you know what? I'll just stay put. Like, I'll just stay put. Fine. I want to say maybe that next week, God planted in my spirit to look at the listings on PassSplit. Just scroll through the listing. That's it. So I was like, I did it. And I see a listing and it said 1-bedroom apartment. Huh? I thought my eyes were deceiving me, because PassSplit is only private rooms. So I was like, huh? So I clicked on the listing, and sure enough, the description said this is a 1-bedroom apartment, no roommates, only 1 occupancy. This is for 1 person. It says something like, this is good for medical students, or if you're in school, stuff like that. And I was like, what? So I'm looking at the pictures, and sure enough, it was a 1-bedroom. I hit that transfer button so fast. I hit that transfer button so fast. Okay, and maybe like an hour later it got approved. Now, I do believe it was a new listing, because keep in mind, I was just looking maybe like a week ago. So it was a new listing, so I couldn't move into it until that Saturday. Mind you, it was currently like Wednesday. So I was like, that's not bad. I have Lowe's Willing Thursday and Friday to get my stuff together. So it was a 1-bedroom apartment, no roommates, and it was cheaper than what I was paying weekly for that room. Y'all, so I got to work immediately. First thing I was like, okay, I'm gonna just put everything in boxes. I wasn't driving. I could get a rental for a few hours to get my stuff to the place, but I need boxes. So I'm like, how am I gonna get boxes? Like, I didn't want to get a vehicle just to go get boxes. My spirit led me to look on Walmart.com for boxes, and y'all, sure enough, I got like maybe 5-6 boxes for no more than $10. And at the time, I was doing Walmart Plus, so they was bringing it to me. So that Thursday, I got my boxes delivered and I started packing. And I remind you, no one knew. I told y'all before, I am now the type of person where I don't tell people my plans. You just see when it's done. When you keep it to yourself, it goes so much smoother. When you tell people before it's finalized, for me, it just seemed like I would run into so many obstacles. I would run into so many issues. But when I kept it to myself, it went so smooth, okay? Because again, you think people will be happy for you the whole time that person is praying against what it is you're trying to do. You feel me? They casting demons and spells on what you're trying to do. Now, don't get me wrong, majority of my plans still got done, but there was so many issues to get it done. It was like problem after problem after problem after problem. Versus when I kept it to myself, it was smooth sailing. Okay, so I'm so big on don't tell nobody. You want to talk about it? Talk to God about it. Because I know sometimes, especially if it's like something that we want, we get excited. So we feel like we gotta say something about it. Pray. Be like, Lord, I can't wait. Talk to God about it. Don't tell I don't care who it is. Don't tell nobody. Unless it's like your husband or something. I feel like that's different. But like, don't tell nobody. I don't care. Don't tell nobody. No one knew I was moving. Mind you, like, I was still talking to them. You know, we had like a raccoon issue. There were raccoons in the roof. During the night, it sounded like they was up there fighting. So it was keeping everybody up. So we was talking about that. Like, I seen a lot of the roommates and all that. I ain't say a word. I did not say anything. So I did everything I had to do. Like I said, I got the boxes. I was packed up. I booked the vehicle for a few hours. I knew I would have to make maybe like 3 trips back and forth, but everything was ready. Like I was ready to get up out of there, okay? Because again, I've mastered being able to live with other people, but I just prefer not to. You know what I mean? Like, people are nasty. Like, something that was common sense to me wasn't common sense to other people. For example, like, I feel like if you're walking and you see a piece of paper on the floor, pick it up. A lot of people will just walk over it. I don't care nothing about, oh, that's how I was raised, and I don't care nothing about that. Because let me tell you something. A lot of the things that I do, I was not raised to do. A lot of ways that I have, I was not raised on that. Do you understand me? I learned and discovered them as I continued to get older. So it's not an excuse. Well, that's just how I was raised. That is not an excuse. Or should I say, that's not a justification. People use that as an excuse, but it doesn't justify your behavior. You're just using that as an excuse. Okay? That was probably the only complaint I had about living with other people. Like, they were very respectful over like the quiet hours and stuff like that. It was just the fact that no one was cleaning the common shared areas. There was crumbs all over the counter. There was dishes in the sink. The kitchen sponge smelled like mildew because they wasn't properly wringing it out, and microwave was disgusting. Like, me and Richard was the only one cleaning. And it gets tiring because this is a house of 13 people. Everybody in here is grown. Why is it so difficult for people to clean up after themselves? I mean, the refrigerators was disgusting. Everything was just nasty. That is probably the only issue I had. I'm too tidy to be in that kind of environment, but I knew that God had me there for a reason. So it's now the day that I'm supposed to move out, right? Y'all, I was so excited. I was up at like 4 a.m. Now, I did have to like do maybe 2-3 loads of laundry. I don't know what that is about. When you about to move, you just want to wash everything, but I washed everything. So I was up really, really early cleaning. Mind you, my move-in time was after 9. I wrote the host and I was like, is there a way I can move in earlier? Because I'm ready to go. And they was like, yeah, you know, like, they sent me the code and everything. I picked up the vehicle, went back to the house, got the first load of my stuff, and we came to the place. Now, I'm going to insert a clip of what the place looked like right about now. The boxes, the bags on the couch, stuff like that was my stuff. But all of that furniture, that was not mine. That came with the space. Not only did God bless me with a 1-bedroom that was cheaper than the shared room or the shared living space that I was in. The 1-bedroom was fully stocked. Y'all, I wish I was joking. It had toilet paper. It had paper towel. It had a bed set on the bed. It had the furniture. It had laundry detergent. It had that Keurig machine, that ain't mine. Those mugs, that ain't mine. It had pots, it had knives. The black utensil thing you see on the counter, that ain't mine. Now, I already had some stuff because I just came from the other house. So I had a few pots, I had a few utensils and stuff like that, but I didn't need anything. That house was fully stocked. When I moved into the first place, I had to bring everything. That room ain't come with nothing but the bed and the TV. Versus the one bedroom, it had everything. I didn't have to buy nothing. I didn't have to go to the store to get nothing. I'm literally, and when I say it was fully stocked, it was fully stocked to last me a few months. I literally still have the detergent that came with the place. Now, I'm gonna insert another clip to show you guys how I decorate it right about now. One rule that Pad Split has is that you can't bring outside furniture inside. So, I just was like, I wanted to make it homey. I wanted to put, Chanel touch on it without doing too much. You know what I mean? Because I definitely feel like God is moving me somewhere better. This is just where I'm at for now. But not only is this one bedroom cheaper than that other room, not only was it fully stocked with everything that I needed, it's an amazing area. Y'all, since I've been here, I've been going on morning walks every day. I have yet to see a loose dog. I have yet to see a loose dog roaming around. God said, I'm going to set you up. And I'm going to set you up real nice. So again, none of the furniture is mine. I didn't like the couch. Like, I thought the couch was really, really ugly. So I just brought sheets. I brought flat sheets. And I covered the couch with flat sheets. I didn't want to do too much because I do believe that God is moving me soon to something bigger and better. But I wanted to do enough to be comfortable. Because one thing about it, I'm going to make any space I'm in feel like home. And that's exactly what I did here. Did I mention that this one bedroom is a pad split? Which means there was no security deposit. Did I also mention that pad splits don't list apartments? They only list private rooms? But there was an apartment listing for me. Y'all, like, come on now. You can't tell me my God is not real. You just can't. So the day I move out, right? Mind y'all, I told y'all me and Richard has been really, really distant. Barely talking, barely hanging out. None of that, right? So the day that I move out, I get a text from him. It said, "Good morning. Apparently Bob passed away." Now, when he sent me the text, I was moving my stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just call him when I get my stuff in the place. And then as I'm driving back to the old house to get my other, the rest of my stuff, I'll call him. So I call him, and I'm like, what? Like, what happened? Da-da-da-da. He didn't really know. He just said, like, his Facebook page, everybody was saying condolences. And he just was telling people, like, Bob passed away. Everybody that knew Bob, he was telling people, like, he passed away. So, we were talking about that situation for a little bit. Because it was like a surprise. It was a surprise. Like, that was the last thing I thought he would say to me. So while I'm talking to him, he's laid up with a girl. Remember I told y'all he was telling like everybody the news. So somebody was calling him. So he was like, I'm gonna see you at the house. Such and such is calling me. So I was like, no, just call me back because I won't be there. Mind you, he didn't know I moved out. But I was like, I wouldn't be there. I'm not gonna be there. So he was like, all right, cool. So fast forward, maybe 2 hours later, he texts me and he's like, I'm home, where you at? Y'all, I was gone. Like, I was gone. So maybe like 45 minutes later, because I was busy, you know what I'm saying? So 45 minutes later, once I kind of stood still, I texted him back and I said, I moved out. He called me immediately. You for real? Yeah. He was like, wow. Now, one thing I noticed about Richard, he hates feeling left out. Remember I told y'all he got mad at me when we was playing game night and I was laughing and he didn't know what I was laughing at? He hates to feel left out. So he wasn't mad that I moved out. He was mad that I didn't say anything. So, I was like, what's that for? Like, what you mean, wow? He was like, so you just moved out, wasn't gonna say anything? Now, remind you, we had fallen off. Mind you, when I first moved in, we was cool. When Brittany moved in and she started doing all that extra stuff because she wanted him, he started looking at me like I was just this bad friend. So we fell off. So I did not feel like I owed him that. I didn't feel like I owed him, yo, I'm moving out Saturday. Like, let's just be honest. I didn't feel that way about nobody in that house. We were cordial because we were housemates. I didn't consider not one person in there my friend. We were housemates. Please let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. But I don't feel like I owed nobody anything. Simple. I wrote in the chat, it was nice meeting you all. Now, remember I told y'all the app tells you when someone moves out and when someone moves in. I thought the app notified them. It didn't. So everybody was responding, what you mean? Like, what? I was on the phone with Richard. So he told me the app didn't say anything. So I was like, my bad. I thought the app notified y'all, but I moved out this morning. Nobody said nothing. Nobody said anything. Like, I don't care. So I'm on the phone with Richard for maybe like 30 minutes. And, he just was like, oh, like you snuck and moved out. And he was like, you know what? I should have known because when I looked in the cabinet, all your stuff was gone. One thing about him, he makes everything about him. You know what I mean? So he was like, jeez, I was here the longest. And mind you, this is a 40-something-year-old man we're talking about here. So in that moment, I was like, I kept it cordial and I kept it cute because we lived together. You were not somebody that I would hang with. You are not somebody that I would want into my life. You are not somebody that I would hang with outside of this house. That was just the honest truth. So in that moment, I realized I don't have to keep this line of communication open. The last thing he said, he was like, I mean, I'm pissed, but congratulations. How you gonna say both of that in the same sentence? So I remember, again, he was making it about him. He just was like, that's crazy. You ain't say nothing. So mind you, I'm saying to him, like, we haven't even really been talking. How can you really be surprised that I didn't say anything? In that moment, I just was like, I don't have to deal with this no more. I don't live in that house anymore. So yeah, he was like, I'm pissed, but congratulations. And I was just like, you find a way to make everything about you. He was like, wow. And I just hung up the phone. It's funny because a few weeks after that, I had 2 phones, right? I had a old phone that I just kept, and then I had a new phone. I'm on my morning walk, my fanny pack strap broke and it fell. I did not realize initially my phone fell out. The only reason why I knew my phone fell out was because my Beats started disconnecting. So I was like, I must have dropped my phone. And I knew immediately where I dropped my phone because it had to be where I dropped the fanny pack, which was in the intersection. Child, before I even reached the phone, I knew immediately that phone is done. I just knew. And sure enough, when I went back, grabbed the phone was done. Screen was done. Wouldn't even turn on. So as a result, I had to turn on the old phone that I had. So I had to get a whole new SIM card, whole new phone number. So they couldn't reach me even if they wanted to. But yeah. And we have been in this apartment since August. I do feel like this beginning was exactly what I needed. It was exactly what I needed. You know what I mean? New state, new number. My birthday was in August. And my dad wrote me on Facebook and said happy birthday. And in that moment, my spirit told me to get rid of all my social media. Now, remind you, I was straying away from it anyway. Like, child, Instagram, I've been stopped posting on Instagram. Literally. Like, that app is filled with people that once upon a time I hung out with or something. So they didn't interact with anything that I would post, but they would watch. You know what I mean? So it was like, I've been just stopped posting on Instagram. And then Twitter, I kind of stopped posting on Twitter because it became like a porn site. So before I moved to Texas, I was basically backing away from those social media apps anyway. So on my birthday, when my dad told me happy birthday, I realized that those social media was a way for people to access me. And I didn't want people from my old life to access me because I feel like there's a version of me that stayed in Philly. My social media, my habits, they accommodated that version of me. She's gone. She's not here anymore. So I think that next day, the day after my birthday, I deleted my Facebook account. I deactivated my Twitter account and I deactivated Instagram. I still have TikTok, but I got rid of all of it. Now, if one day, like, you guys want me to create Instagram or something just to have a more intimate way of talking to me, I'll do that for you guys. I'll do that for my subscribers, but I don't care for it, honestly. This was truly a fresh start for me. New number, no social media, new state. This was the beginning that I needed. And let me tell you something. So much has transpired since I've been in Texas, like internally. He's still working, but he has done so much inside. I'm continuing to build positive habits. You know, I'm learning more, I'm doing more. Like, I'm really sprouting into the person he always called me to be. And I feel like that wasn't going to happen if I stayed in Philly. I'm just so happy that I did it. I am so happy that I made this move. Mind you, I've been in Philly my entire life thus far. You know what I mean? So when I moved to Texas, it was like everything was different. Even the people, you know, Philly, New York, people aggressive. Like, you could bump into somebody and then you look at them and they be like, what you looking at? You just bumped into me. So what? And what you finna do? Like, Philly, New York, the East Coast, aggressive, mean. You feel me? Like, ignorant. When I moved to Texas, I was like, everybody here is so nice. I was like, wow. In Philly, you know, that place to wash your clothes is called a laundromat. In Texas, it's called a washateria. In Philly, our markets, ShopRite, Fresh Grocer, Acme, Texas, Fiesta, HEB. What's the other one? That's another one, I'm forgetting it. Philly, there was a place called Wawa. Texas don't have no Wawa. Y'all, now if it's one thing I miss about Philly is Wawa. I say that because it allowed me to see that there is more outside of your hometown. I thought everybody talked the way we talked and walked the way we walked and everything was like Philly. No, it's a whole nother world out there. And this is just one state. It's 50 states, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, it allowed me to see there is so much more outside of Philly. It is so much more outside of what you've been seeing for 27 years. It's so much more outside of what you're used to. I encourage everyone, if God, let me emphasize this. If God, let me do it again. If God is telling you to move, please do so. Because I feel like a lot of people say God is telling them to do something when that's not God. That's just you. That's just your emotion. I'm actually going to do a video on how I know God speaks to me. But if God is telling you to do it, do it. Because you got to understand, God is not entitled to bless anything that he did not orchestrate. I want to say that again for the people in the back that act like they ain't hearing me. God is not entitled to bless something that he did not orchestrate. For example, if you're in a relationship with someone that God did not tell you to be with, he is not entitled to bless that relationship. If you move somewhere that God did not tell you to move, he is not entitled to bless that. You cannot do something on your own. You feel me? You can't do something just because you want to do it and then be like, Lord, bless it. God blesses what's in his will. Thank you, Holy Spirit. God supports what's in his will. When you do something that's in his will, he's pretty much obligated to fulfill that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because he told you to do it. He led you to do it. He instructed you to do it. So because you're obeying him, he's going to carry you through that thing. He's going to see you through that thing. You cannot do something out of emotion and then turn around and say, God, please bless this. And then you get mad at him when he don't do it. Then you get mad at him when he's not showing up. Whole time you did something that was outside of his will. And one thing about it, when you do something that's outside of God's will, you have to stay outside of his will to maintain it. Whew. That was a word right there. Oh, you just said something, girl. And I just felt led to say that because on TikTok, you see all the time, people, God told me to move here. See, for my testimony, I know it was God. All the actions, everything that led up to it and then everything after it, that was nothing but God. I feel like people use God so much nowadays as clickbait, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Come with me to the gym as a Christian girly. What are you about to do in the gym as a Christian girl that you wouldn't do as a regular girl? Like, make it make sense. Morning routine as a Christian girly, that's a little different. You feel me? Because you wake up, you get in your word, you pray, all that good stuff. People just use God as clickbait. Y'all, let me tell you something. I seen a TikTok. This man said, comment down below the name of your bank because God is about to deposit $5,000 in your account. You said what? Never mind you. People get paid on TikTok from comments, engagement. You get paid off that. And people so gullible. Bank of America, Chime, TD Bank, Navy Federal, Wells Fargo. Are you for real? Man, listen. People think they playing with God. They clearly ain't read the Old Testament. Just like God is amazing, loving, caring, providing, all that good stuff. Baby, his wrath is nothing to play with. I feel bad for people that lack respect for God. You think you getting away with it, unless you repent, there's a place that you going to where you will suffer for eternity. I say all that to say, I know my move was orchestrated by God. There's no doubt in my mind. You can't fake having $9,000 of debt go to zero. Who doing that besides God? I'll wait. But again, I know when God speaks to me versus when it's me speaking to me. I know when it's my thought and I know when God's speaking to me. So that concludes the moving to Texas testimony. So again, I hope that I inspired someone to be obedient. You don't have to know what step the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th step looks like. Just take that one step and God will do everything else. Like, I am a living, I am a walking, I am a breathing testimony. If he did it for me, he can do it for you. So I really, really hope that this testimony encouraged someone to be obedient. Be obedient. I promise there is a reward waiting for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and hit the bell button so that you're notified every time that I post, which is every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. So set an alarm, set a reminder, put it in your calendar. Whatever works for you works for me. Until next time, love you all. Mwah. It's a wrap. Crap. Oh crap. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. I don't think I messed up my lip, but let me just put a little bit more. Just a little bit. It's like 2 o'clock. That's all I had today. Look like a child, but this is like really like I was going for like a fun look. Just maybe $45. 45 minutes later, I was gonna do pearls at first, but then I was like, wait a minute, I got rhinestones. Let me do the rhinestones because we got the silver going. Yes! At 7 p.m. Tuesdays. Trying not to show my goodies. I feel like this is real creative. It definitely is giving little girl, but it was like real creative. You know what I mean? Then the nails matching it. Ooh, 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 you better stop with your bad self. I'm just practicing for when I have my team. Yeah, it's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Good work today.